Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Figuarts Dragon Ball Super BROLY. Although it says Super BROLY Super, I'm not sure what they're really getting at with this stupid cat hair, with that designation right there. Is that, are they calling this Super BROLY because he's got the Super Saiyan hair? I guess that makes sense. But Full Power BROLY also has Super Saiyan hair, just with a green glow, so not necessarily the best nomenclature there. It's a bit confusing, especially considering the show is called Super. But what it is armored up BROLY, not quite as beefy, and that's awesome. This is one of the most looked forward to figures this year for me. I really like the overall character composition here, and I think the figure looks really cool. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands roughly to the top of his hair about 8 inches, a little bit shy of that. To the top of his head, roughly 6 3/4. And that's gonna make him, to the hair, about 20.5 centimeters, and to the head, about 17, give or take. Those are very rough estimates, but they'll give you an idea for scaling. And what will give you another idea for scaling is some comparisons. So there's regular BROLY, there's Goku, and here's Big BROLY. This is what happens when BROLY gets mad. He kind of gets bigger, a lot bigger. I'm not sure people were aware what size this was going to be when it was first announced, and I think I like it. I like that in-between size. I like the overall proportioning of this guy a ton. In figure form, and I guess in the movie. I didn't notice it at the time, but I like that. The size difference is pretty cool. He's not just getting bulky. It's pretty cool. And then just for giggles, can't say the other part of that, there he is against the DC superheroes Batman, and here he is against a Marvel Legends Gambit. Nicely scaled, I think, even though those scales have nothing to do with each other. I just wanted to show off the Gambit. Alright, let's get these guys out of the way. And now we can talk about this guy. Overall, so far I like it. The aesthetics on this guy are pretty good. There's one issue that drives me bonkers, and that's that the knees are shiny. And I understand that they're a different plastic. These are probably made out of POM, whereas these are probably PVC. PVC, you can get this nice flat or matte finish very easily. Not so easy on these guys, and they just didn't do a good job on it here. It's not a huge deal if you don't have harsh studio lights hitting it, but you will notice from time to time that his knees look sweaty and the rest of his body is such a gorgeous matte finish. I think that's maybe what sets the knees out so much. This body is so nicely finished. It's such a nice matte finish. It's one of the best things you can do to an action figure, honestly, to make it look good. A matte finish. So nice. I love it. And then they did a good job with painting. All the detail work is painted nicely. The white on the green is very clean. The white on the forearms against the blue is mostly clean. The skirt piece is painted pretty well. Oh, by the way, when I reviewed the Big BROLY and called this a skirt, so many of you said, oh my god, it's not a skirt, it's an ear. Where is he wearing it and what's it look like? It's a skirt. It doesn't matter if it's made out of an ear. What about real people skirts? Are those called cottons because they're made out of cotton? No, it's a skirt. Doesn't matter what it's made out of, you crazy people. Anyway, the paint job's super clean. They did add shading throughout the skin, which is very nice. They did a good job with the tonality. I like it. The hair, we're back to having the non-glossy, non-metallic hair with subtle shading, and I really like that. And then the paint job on the face is also very nicely done. And yes, I am looking at the Super Saiyan hair as the primary head because I like it the most, but he does come with this head on him in the package. It's nicely done as well. We'll get to the accessories in a minute, but that Super Saiyan look is just wonderful. But yeah, they did a really, really good job on the look of this guy. It's very nicely done. His feet are much better proportioned for his body. All around, very well executed, aesthetically speaking. I'm gonna give this guy a 9.5 out of 10 for the aesthetics. There's not much they could do to make this guy look better, other than maybe clean up the shininess on the knees, maybe throw in a little bit more shading. Obviously, you can always add more until you add a lot, but nobody adds enough that adding more would be too much. And so that would be okay. All right, on to the accessories. We have 3 total heads. We have goofy looking mullet head, which I can't imagine anybody will ever display the figure with, but I guess you could do that, especially if you're gonna get more than one. Then we get yelling dark haired head, which is a gorgeous sculpt and paint job. They nailed it so hard. That sounds wrong, but it is that good. That face is wonderful. The pupils on the eyes are nicely done. The mouth is painted well. The scars, the detailing on the face and the hair, just lovely. And then same thing is true for the Super Saiyan head, though. We already looked at that a little bit. Really nicely done. Very, very clean. We do get his little choker for when he feels like going out to the club, so that's cool. And then we get some hands. We have 2 fist hands, and then 2 sets of open / grapply hands, but the sculpts are so similar, it feels like a missed opportunity for something else. Because yeah, I mean, they're technically different sculpts for each set, but they are so close that they don't really add that much value. But either way, that's a nice enough smattering of accessories. I'll give it an 8 out of 10 because 3 heads is great. 3 different heads, not just faces. I think that's a little bit better value, having the extra hair. That's pretty cool. But no blast effects again. And though, did he use blast effects before he went green? I don't remember. I know he did once he went green, hair-wise. But did he with yellow hair? I don't remember. I have to check. But either way, I want blast effects. Damn it, give me some blast effects. So accessory-wise, I don't know if I said already, but I'm going to say 8 out of 10. Disregard what I already said. If I already said something, I'm going with 8 because of the heads. I don't know if I said anything or not. I haven't done this in a long time. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Okay, as for the articulation, one thing that I want to mention first, before anything else, it's kind of an aesthetic issue, but it does tie into the articulation, is that this piece right here is not articulated like it is on Frieza, and it does dangle over his lower torso, and it does make spots. I don't know if you can see them. I haven't moved it enough to create scratches, but it did make those kind of like smoothed off spots from the pressure, and it doesn't look good, and that really sucks. So that is a bit of an issue. If you move this at all, it's not going to look great. We'll get to the actual functionality of that issue in just a minute. So articulation for the head is something I want to show you. It is the right kind of articulation for a head. Also, the neck's on a ball peg, you can see that. But we have a double ball peg for the head. However, there's almost no range for that little ball peg in there. You can see the peg itself is basically the same size as the ball, which means there's not going to be that much motion in there. There's some, but it's not much. Now the thing is though, you can't use it anyway, so that's kind of a bummer. The reason you can't use it is all of these heads have hair hanging down pretty far. So when the head's on there, you can see there's just nowhere for it to go. It's almost perfectly outlining the armor, so that all you can kind of do is rotate the head a little bit. You can move it a some, obviously there's a little bit of range there, but not much. So that's definitely kind of a downside. I don't know that they could do much about that given the sculpt, but it is something worth mentioning. Now we do have these quasi butterfly joints, which I don't know if it's just a ball peg or what. I don't want to risk breaking it and taking it apart, but the whole butterfly moves in kind of like every direction. You can lean it in and out, up and down. You can rotate it forward and back a little bit, and of course you can butterfly it this way. So it just kind of helps in general. It's kind of a universal butterfly joint, which I kind of appreciate. And then we do have a ball peg, a longer ball peg for the arm to connect to the body, which gives you a little bit of extra range. And your shoulder is a traditional shoulder, which gives you excellent range. Very nicely executed there. Of course, you do get full rotation, but you're probably wondering about the shoulder pad. And I think they did a really good thing here. Although I do want to point out, if he didn't have shoulder pads at some point, that's kind of a cool look. That's kind of an excellent look. There should be some kind of in-between stage where he loses the shoulder pads and is like halfway bulked. And I think that'd be great. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We have a ball hinge. So the shoulder pads, as you saw, move around exceptionally well. And they look like they're connected when they are not being moved around. So they can move up and down. They can obviously rotate around. You don't probably need that much range on there. And when you move the arm back, it kind of moves them out of the way, but it's not going to really kill your posing. You should be able to pose the guy just fine. They did a good job with that. Bicep swivel is a bicep swivel, that's fine. Elbow, just a little bit better than 90 degrees out of that double joint. For the wrists, we have a ball hinge, which does give you some range, though of course it's limited by the gauntlets. For the upper torso, I don't know what's going on here. I think it's just a ball peg. But like I said, you can't really use it, and I would just advise against it because you're going to scratch the figure with this piece. And then the same thing goes back here. It's just not worth risking the scratch, so just leave that part alone. Down here for the lower torso, you can't really see too much. It's separated at the purple. Oh, there you go. I can show you from up here. There's a separation between the two bits of purple. And so what you have is a hinge and a ball peg as far as I can tell. And that does give you quite a bit of range. So just use that and you should be okay. You'll end up moving this some, but you're gonna have to adjust it back to hide those little spots. Hopefully you don't have those spots, but I did, and that sucks. But it does move around well enough for as bulky as he is. I guess that's okay. The ear skirt, there, I made you happy. I called it an ear and a skirt, is soft and supple. You can move it around pretty well. It does have a hinge back here if you want to use that. I'm not really sure what that's going to be helpful for, because these guys don't hinge at all, so that looks stupid. It just looked like he farted part of his skirt away. I don't know what's going on with that, but they did do that if you are interested in that. The hips are very similar to the other BROLY in that they're not like your standard hips. We have kind of a hinged ball peg situation, relatively similar to the older hips. It's very stiff and doesn't move much, that's what she said. But you have another ball peg down here where they connect, and ultimately don't worry about how it's made. Look at how it works. You can bring the leg all the way up. Excellent range. Very nicely done. He kicks very high. You can bring the leg back, not a ton because he has a butt cheek, but it does go back a little bit. And then going out to the side, not perfect splits. That one popped off. Hey, the legs pop off. Be aware of that. That's powder for lubrication, by the way. I didn't put that there. They put that there. And that's not unusual. You just don't normally get to see it. So let's see if I can pop this back on and show you the range again. There we go. So the range, if I can show you, pretty good hips. That's pretty good. It looks like there may be a ball peg, like a three-way ball peg holding those hips in to the crotch, but I can't quite get in there to see, and it doesn't seem to move very much. You do have a thigh swivel in there, so that's fine. Double jointed knee is pretty good. That's one of their better knees, I think. They did a pretty decent job with that. For the ankle, minimal range going back, very minimal range going forward. You can rotate it around for an ankle rocker, but because of the way they sculpted it, you really can't. So that ankle kind of sucks. I don't know why they didn't. They already sculpted this little like nubbin right here, which is part of the ball. Let me zoom in. This little nubbin right here, if they're gonna sculpt that, just make the whole ball that size. Make the ball the whole size of the ankle, because it's not skinny there because you sculpted it anyway. Give yourself a bigger ball and you'll have much better range, but they didn't do that. So that kind of sucks. And then the toe joint it's okay. Nothing special. So ultimately, the articulation on this guy is mostly solid. We have some really nice spots in the arms, and that's about it. The hips are actually pretty good, I guess, other than they popped apart. That might have just been me forcing it too much, though. But then we do have limited ankles and limited torso and limited head, so not the best in terms of posability, but I don't know. Well, articulation-wise, I'm only going to give it a 6. For an SH Figuarts, it's pretty limited. But for the final verdict, I'm not going to weigh the articulation that much because it does look freaking good in every other way, and it comes with decent accessories. I'm going to give this guy an overall verdict of 8.5. I think 8.5 is good. The articulation is just a little bit too limited to go higher than that, but it is still an excellent figure. It's one of my personal favorites, and I think you guys might like it. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, go ahead and give it a thumbs up anyway. Make sure you come back. I've got new videos out just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I already said that. Go ahead and subscribe. I didn't say that. Subscribe. You should do that because of those reasons I already said. I did this out of order completely. I haven't done a video in like almost 2 months now, and I don't know what I'm saying, but nobody watches this part of the video anyway, so I can pretty much say whatever I want and it won't matter. But if you are here, thanks. You're awesome. And keep collecting.